Westchester, and we are so glad to be joining forces tonight and to welcome participants from both Brooklyn and Westchester. Before we begin, just a few words about the timing and the purpose of this Zoom. As you know, over the past 2 years, we have been witnessing dramatic shifts in the Middle East. The region is being reshaped under the dust of ongoing conflicts. And during this time, Israel, more than ever before, has felt the reach and the influence of Iran across the region through Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Iraqi militias, Syria, and most recently in confrontation, a war with the Iranian regime itself. This escalation has raised old, new, and pressing questions that we are all occupied with, like, will the weakening of the Iranian regime lead to its fall? If it does fall, what comes next? And how might a new Iranian leadership relate to Israel and to the West in general? And while we all understand that predictions about the future of the Middle East are endless, what we find especially meaningful in this moment is the growing curiosity about the voices coming from Iran, the voices of the people. So tonight's event is titled Talking with the Iranian Opposition. And while we recognize that there is no single unified Iranian opposition, our aim this evening is not to present one roadmap for the future of the Middle East, but rather to offer a glimpse into the diversity of thought and identity within what we call the Iranian opposition, or in other words, to lift up the voices of the people. So our speakers tonight are currently placed in 3 continents: North America, Europe, and Israel. We hope these voices will challenge the monolithic image that war tends to create and offer us new perspective on a region in constant evolution. And I want to pass it to Lior Wegner, the Shlicha from Brooklyn. Lior, back to you. Open the mic.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Lior. Thank you, Ila. So before we begin, a quick word about the person leading tonight's conversation, Tom Wegner. Tom is a senior strategic advisor, best-selling author, and a long-term Israeli peace activist who has spent decades working at the intersection of diplomacy, media, and dialogue across the Middle East. He's the founder of the Middle East Center, which brings together citizens from across the region, Jews, Muslims, Christians, for direct conversation, grassroots collaboration, and even joint study between rabbis and imams. Tom previously served as a spokesperson for Prime Minister Ehud Barak and for the Paris Center for Peace, and has worked with major international bodies like UN and EU and the World Bank. He's developed unique connection with thought leaders and activists across the Arab and Muslim world, including in places where Israelis rarely have access. His recent book, including the Abrahamic Revolution and Union of the Believers, reflect a vision of peace grounded in shared values and real human relationship, not just politics. We're honored to have him with us tonight to guide this rare and timely conversation. Tom, over to you.
Thank you so much, Lior and Ila. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Tom Wegner, and I'm an Israeli strategic consultant, author, and peace activist. I'm the founder and the director of the Middle East Center, an Israeli initiative dedicated to building bridges between people and faiths across the region. I am also one of the founders of the Israeli-Iranian Friendship Association, which aims to rekindle the deep cultural, historical, and human ties between the 2 nations. This evening is a part of an ongoing effort to bring the Israeli and Iranian people closer together, not just through diplomacy, but through open, honest, human dialogue. It's important to clarify that when we speak of the Iranian opposition, we are not referring to a single organization party. Rather, we are speaking of a mosaic of groups, ideas, and individuals, all of whom represent the will of the Iranian people to live free from the oppressive Khamenei regime. Tonight, we will meet some of the voices within the diverse mosaic, and together we will begin to explore the rich and complex history of Israel-Iranian relations, as well as the possibilities for a very, very different future. Thank you again for being here. I believe that these conversations, however modest, can help reshape the story of our region. First, allow me to introduce my friend George Harunian, a founding member of NoToAntisemitism.org. He was born in 1953 in Tehran. Deeply committed to community service, George served as the president of the Council of Iranian American Jewish Organizations. Hello, George, how are you today?
Hello, you Tom, and hello, everyone. Can you hear me, everyone? Yeah,
Certainly.
it's an honor to be here. You told me I have 3 minutes, so I basically will touch upon headlines, and I hope will be time to talk more. You initially told me to talk about Cyrus. I don't think there's any Jew or any Iranian who doesn't know about Cyrus. So I don't think it needs to be repeated this. But in today's world, the fact that Iranians were tolerant of Jews and that was represented by Cyrus, it's a very important issue today. I believe today on the plate of many Iranians and many Israelis is because I was born and I observed how Israel was defined in the political culture of Iran, the left and the nationalist groups, and of course the Islamic groups. It is very important with what Israel has done with the common enemy of the Iranian people that I believe the definition of existence of Israel should be clarified for many Iranians. And what is it that the Jews feel? Of course, there is difference between Jews, and I'm aware of that, of how important Israel is to the Jewish people. Now, as an Iranian Jew, many Iranians tell me, you are Iranian, you are Iranian. And then second, you're Jewish. I say there is no argument. I mean, this doesn't make sense. It's a philosophical argument. But I want many Iranians, so-called opposition, to realize that the relationship of our community to the state of Israel and its existence is something that is they need to explore more. It's not because only Israel fought with the Islamic Republic or defeated Hezbollah and this and that. That's not the only reason Israel should live and should exist. But there is more. So I'm not going to touch upon that. Today's headlines is the wounded wolf. Islamic Republic has arrested a group of Iranian Jews. As of 10 minutes ago, I was checking my messages. We do not have reports of some of them. We do not. From my sources among the Iranian opposition is that because that main prison was hit by Israel, they have established safe houses and they have taken a bunch of people to these safe houses. I want everybody to know that there is an Iranian Jew American citizen that nobody has heard of for 13 days. Just for you to know. I do not, the Islamic Republic looks for excuses to punish people, and my community is very concerned not to make noise. But of course, for those of us who are outside of Iran, we look at it differently. So when maybe the time comes that I will ask this group through message to make noise. Okay, at this time, we are still waiting for news. I don't have much else to say. If you want, I can answer questions.
Okay, of course, I will refer some questions after everyone will have opening statements. So now I would like to introduce Saba Koi. She is an Iranian opposition journalist, and she had the very unique experience of being in Israel while the 12 Days War, while Iran bombarded Israel, and likewise. Saba, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Hello, everybody.
Hello. So I would like to hear from you your perspective about the relations between Israel and Iran and the difference between the relations of the regimes and the relations of the people.
Yes, hello everybody. Hi, I'm so glad to I'm invited to talk to you. And to be honest, it was very interesting to say what's going on when I was in Israel. I came back today morning in a London, as you know now. Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi also was in a European, and also he was in a UK. And you know what's going on in the UK. Anyway, but let's come back to your question. I was very emotional time when I was in Israel. And as you know, was the first attack. It was in 13th of June. It was a year of the consulate in the USA in Tel Aviv, and I've got a record about this, and I know what's going on. You know, between attack between Iran and Iranian regime and Israel. When Israel is attack to the Iran, only attack to the Islamic Guard and help the people to come back to the Cyrus Accord, as you as you talk, and Mr. Harunian talked today about this. But when Iran is attack to the Israel, it is the only attack to the people, the only attack to the hospital. And I was so glad that was there and can get a report about what's going on there. And it was very, very interesting when I see attack to the people. It was first night, it was in a Shabbat day. They are opening the door for us, and they said to us, don't worry, we are together. To be honest, for me, it was very amazing how the people in Israel with this situation can be kindness with another people, that we are there. And if some of us without any hostel, because it's after attack, everything is as destroyed, but they are too glad with us. And I think everything between Iran and Israel is come back very soon to the peace, very soon. And thanks for everything.
Thank you so much, Saba. So if we're speaking about the return to the peace, I would like to introduce my friend Arash Hamedian, who is a prominent activist in the Iranian opposition and also co-writing together with me our mutual book, The Cyrus Accords, that is basically outlining the lines of Israeli-Iranian peace agreement after the fall of the Iranian regime. Arash, can you please take us a bit more to the depth of what it means, the Cyrus Accord, and what is the historical narrative behind it and the hopes for the future?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, dear Tom, distinguished guests. It is an honor to be here with you. As I don't have so much time, I try to be quick and direct. First, I want to give you a little bit feedback about what happened in Iran during last 46 years. In 1979, a group of terrorists who were trained outside of Iran in different countries like Lebanon, Syria, or elsewhere, with the help of Soviet Union and some powers in the West at that time, they organized so many terror attacks, and with the huge propaganda, they could organize a rebellion that they called it Islamic Revolution. and they took over Iran. At that time, there was no internet, there was no nothing, so people didn't understood what has happened. And these groups took over the capital, and after that, everywhere else. The details are a lot. So then they established the Islamic Republic. So they never spoke about Iran during all these years. They were always so proud that they are the Islamic Republic. Their ideology is to conquer the world, transform the world into Shiism, and destroy the state of Israel. That means annihilation of the complete state of Israel and killing all the Jews that exist there. This ideology not only is harmful for the West and for the world, but also the first victims are the Iranian people inside, because they look at Iran and its people as a gift of war according to Islamic law. They call it ghanimat. And they have killed, imprisoned, jailed, and tortured Iranians, and always misrepresented Iran. And unfortunately, people in the world know Iran or Iranians with always with the bombardation of the news, of aggression, of barbaric behaviors, and this regime doesn't matter how much different it was before this regime come to power. So, and then the anti-Semitism and the ideology that the hatred they injected into the Iranian society and later to the world with, of course, they finance terrorism and anti-Semitic groups. There is also Qatar and other groups, but they are one of the main founders. And things advanced forward, years went forward. There were so many uprisings in Iran, and always the West ignored us, the people, and they somehow tried to flirt with this regime, talk about negotiations, talk about diplomacy. And until a few years ago with Mahsa Amini revolution, which really people showed that they are fed up with this regime. And we, the opposition, we always try to bring awareness to the people, to the world, that guys, please hear us. Islamic Republic is not Iran. They are completely misrepresenting us. They have hijacked not only Iran, but also the world. They have hijacked everything. They are stopping the progress of our planet, our world. They don't let us live in peace. And unfortunately, as always, ignorance from the politicians in the West. So we tried then before October 7 to bring awareness, to make to wash the propaganda of the regime against Jews and against this hatred for Israel. And then October 7 happened. So we started openly support Israel in our demonstrations and bring even more awareness to the Iranian people in Persian through the social media, that what is Israel, what is Zionism, what was our relation with Israel before this regime come to power, and also the historic relation of Iranians with Israel, which goes back 2,500 years ago. And also we needed to educate ourselves, but also to bring awareness. So we had a pleasure to
you're being so cruelly treated.
To get to know Tom, and then
please
this
close your
idea,
mic.
okay.
The cruelest.
This idea
Tom, can you
came,
please close the steward Korean?
someone had
Maybe.
the microphone. It's okay now.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, then I had a pleasure to get to know Tom, and then we had this idea of Cyrus Accord, because we Iranians see that because of the Arab world that is surrounded Israel, Iran is completely has fallen out. And again, because of this regime, like real Iran and Iranians are completely fallen out of any conversation, any issue. And always there are misrepresentation, or even Israelis or Westerners, they look at Iran with the actual informations that they have from the Arabic countries or things that it's just available at the first sight for them. And they are, of course, it's not their fault. It is unfortunately like that. There are not much information about Iran, real Iranians, and the potential that real Iranians have. And we should also know that Iranians are very pro-Israeli and very pro-American. But unfortunately, again, this is always misrepresented through the media. And even when I speak with so many Israelis, not all of them, but so many think that the propaganda that they see, all the Iranian people are against Israel, because the regime always put the cameras, put a few thousand people, aggressive, angry people, that they shout death to Israel or death to America. And unfortunately, they have been projected through CNN, BBC, and all the big news media, and people might believe it. But the majority who are hostages of this regime, they are pro-Israel, pro-America. They love America. They love Israel. And every day, with more information, they understand better. When they were hitting IRGC during this 12 days war, they were glorifying IDF, and really people, with every hit that the regime received, people were so happy and celebrating, because it was like you are in the prison and the guys who have you as prisoners are getting hit. That's why. And yes, so the Cyrus Accord, one more minute, dear Tom, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, the Cyrus Accord is a perspective which, after the fall of the Islamic Republic, bring a huge different reality for Iran and Israel, but also for the Middle East and all the world, in every direction that you can imagine. Because first of all the financing of terrorism and terrorist groups will be cut. They cannot have all this aggression through Europe and United States, and all these demonstrations and all this insecurity that they create. Then everything will be replaced in direction of technology, agriculture, innovation, talks of religion, art, culture, everything. So it will be huge difference. And if you ask how you're going to do it, what is your alternative? Do you have an alternative? Yes. There is one person who majority of Iranians in masses in the country and the diaspora from different political perspective believe in him. His name is Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. And yes, he is son of the king. I know so many people are sensitive toward this, that, oh my God, because there is also lots of propaganda against the Shah and everything. But he is his own man. People know him. People have followed him during last 46 years. He is a very democratic person who says that he don't want the power for himself. If it's important for him, just Iran will be free, and Iranian people had the right to choose their own future in a free election. That might be republic, parliamentary monarchy, whatever, but a real democracy. So yes, we have also an alternative. So if ever you guys could help us, even for bringing awareness that there is this alternative, so Western politicians should support him to speed up the procedure, and no more games of negotiations. Do not let the Islamic Republic and their allies and lobbies play them anymore. And so we can achieve the freedom, and then from there go forward with Cyrus Accord. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you, my friend. I would like to invite my friend Fuad Khurshidi, who is the coordinator of the International Peace and Movement, Peace and Love Movement, I'm sorry, which is one of the movements of the Iranian opposition. Fuad is a journalist and a pastor from Kurdish Iranian origin, residing in Sweden. And I would like to ask you specifically, Fuad, about the issue of minorities in Iran. You represent two of them, Kurds and Christians. Iran is basically a coalition of minorities, because there's no one group who is a majority by itself. can you please take us for an overview of the situation of minorities in Iran in general, and specifically what's going on in the Kurdish areas and other minorities areas since the Israeli attacks on Iran?
Yeah, sure. Shalom to everyone. It's honored to be here. It's a great blessing for me. As my friend Tom introduced me, I'm a coordinating director for Peace and Love International Movement, which focus on making peace between the people of Iran and Israel, or we can say that revive the peace and friendship that based on those shared historical heritage that we have together than 2,700 years ago. Our focus not only to making peace between these two great people, and we held first symposium conference in Beit Zayoneh in Tel Aviv 2 years ago to say to the world that there is a distinct and separation between the people of Iran and the regime. People of Iran have no hostility with Israel. And during a history, we can read that it in a time of the Esther, the queen of Iran, was a Jewish lady, and it was just Haman that was against the Jewish people. And the result of that enemy was victory for Jewish people in the soil of Iran. And we are believing that the history is repeating itself. The situation for minority groups are very complex, especially for Kurds and for Christian also. When I am speaking about the Christian, I'm not speaking about the traditional Christian. I'm speaking about the more than 1 million Christian who are ex-Muslim. They were once Muslim, but now converted to Christianity, and they have become pro-Israeli. Through their faith, now they are pro-Israeli. We are facing a huge Christian people inside Iran and outside Iran who have become pro-Israeli and love Zion, love the God of Israel, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the situation for them are very complex because the regime considered them, called them, accused them as a Zionist Christian, as a espionage, as a betrayal to homeland, because they are speaking about God of Israel and friendship between Iran and Israel. You know, friendship between Iran and Israel is a taboo for the regime, have been a taboo, especially from a moment that this war started. So this is a very sensitive issue in Iran, speaking about this issue. But they love Israel, and they want to do everything to make this friendship, and we in this movement do our best to make brotherhood, relationship, interfaith dialogue between the Christians and Jewish community. And concerning the Kurds also, you know, the Kurds was under suppressive act of regime. So it was not unity between the Kurdish people and regime from the beginning of the Islamic Republic of regime. So half of those people have been executed in Iran are from Kurdistan. Meanwhile, they are just 10% of the people and a population of Iran, but more than half of those people have been executed are Kurds, because they were against this regime from day one. So especially after the death of Mahsa Jina Amini, so I'm sure that you followed all news that what happened in Kurdistan, especially in this war. They tried to be more silent, to not show their happiness, while they are very happy because of the thing that has started, but because of the experience that they had after the death of Mahsa Jina Amini. So they are trying to not react their gladness, but most of them are pro-Israeli. I'm speaking about the Kurds. Most of them are pro-Israeli because, you know, all of you have read your Bible. from a time of after the kingdom of Solomon, when Assyrian actually exiled the Jewish people to the Median city, where the origins of Kurds. So there is a bound between the Jewish people and Kurds than 2,700 years ago. So the situation is not so easy. It's very difficult for them. They are waiting to see the freedom for Kurds and for all Iranian. And I want to say tonight that most of Kurds people actually consider themselves Iranian Kurds. They are not separatists. Because I want to say, the Kurush, when we speak about the King Cyrus' father was Persian, but his mother was the daughter of the king of Median. So Median is the origin of Kurds. So King Cyrus' mother was Kurd. We can say that King Cyrus' mother was Kurd, father was the Persian. So the unity between the Kurds and Persian can change the game, can change a crucial role in future. So we do our best to unity between the Kurds and Persian and Iranian and Israeli people and Christian community and Jewish community. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Sam Mirian, an Iranian opposition activist based in New York from the Iranian Democracy Front. Hello, Sam, how are you? Before you will begin, I would like to encourage the crowd to start asking questions using the chat. If you have any questions, you can start asking them meanwhile. And Sam, I would like to ask you to refer also to the probabilities or the chances of a revolution in Iran.
Thank you for giving me time. I appreciate you inviting me to this affair. First of all, Arash have said all the things that need to be said. I need not to repeat that. Going back to Cyrus and Jews, or Persian and Jews, this goes back to the history that you all know about it, and there's no need to reiterate that. Jews in Persian, I don't want to say that they owe a debt of gratitude years ago when Cyrus saved the Jews. Now, by Israelis helping us to get back our government back in order, that debt of gratitude will be paid. Now, let me address something that I noticed that most of you stated. First of all, I don't believe you should use the word Iran and Iranian in compared to the current regime, which is called Islamic Republic. This is not Iranian who dropped the bomb in Israeli cities. It was Islamic Republic. Iranians are not warmongers, and they have never been in history ever attack another country. They always defended themselves. If you go back to the history for 7,000 years, you will know we have never, and in fact, I insist that when you are addressing the word Iran, don't use it sparingly. I like you to use it sparingly, because this is not Iran who is using the word, this is not Iranian who using the word Iran as a tool. This is Islamic Republic, not Iranian. I would appreciate that you mentioned that in your conversation. I have a few notes in here. I've already talked about the Islamic Republic that should be used instead of the word Iran. I'm reading my note. I don't have my glasses with me. I apologize. If Israelis help us to get back our country, we take the country back, that debt of gratitude will be paid. And I'm sure the Iranians all appreciate that. During these past few days or few weeks of war, in my conversation with most of Iranian, practically all Iranian, there wasn't a single person who said anything against Israel, anything about Israelis. I mentioned that I noticed that the gentleman is talking about Kurds and Christians and Muslims and so forth. If you study the Persians' history, you will notice that Iranians do not have a religion per se. Everyone have their own religion, and everyone can practice their own religion, their own belief. There is no such thing as Christian, Jews, or Kurds, or anything in a history and in a dictionary of Iranian. I grew up in Iran, and I did not know the difference between Christians and Jews and Kurds and every other name that you want to mention during my childhood. So therefore, I like to re-emphasize the fact that you are speaking about a very unique group of people that, never mind the 7,000, 8,000, 6,000 years ago, they have never distinguished or disenfranchised between the religions and the different tribals like Kurds and Lors and Kyrgyzstanis or Baluch or etc. They are all Persian, and they all should be considered Persian and Iranian. Islamic Republic is against Iranian and Iranian culture. So this is the note you should keep in mind. You keep mentioning Jews and Muslims, and this in an Iranian point of view, there is no such thing. Religion is for you at home to exercise, and that is your right to exercise. It is not to be used as a tool, and this is what the current regime is using it as a tool, and unfortunately,
Sam?
Sam was stopped.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think that Sam was disconnected.
one of my purpose have been served. Iran is not hurt. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you just said.
We lost you for a second.
We can
Okay.
hear you now.
Please repeat the
I'm-
last sentence.
Okay, I didn't quite understand, but if you are confirming to what I said, I appreciate that. So therefore, I don't know what we is correct. I could use that, but Iranians are really looking forward for Israelis in order to overcome this catastrophe that occurred in our land in the past 40 some odd years. And I don't even want to go to the history of it, why it's happened and who helped and etc. The history is gone and it's written by itself, the facts. But the facts remain at this time, all Iranians are looking forward to a day they get their home back. Iranians, majority of Iranians are in home, the prison. As you know, if you go to a court, you will be convicted. The judge may order you to stay home as a prison. And this is exactly what happened. Every one of us at home are prisoners of Islamic Republic. So again, I'm going through my notes based on what I heard from most of you. I think I said just about everything that I should say. We are all looking forward for a day that there won't be any border between Israel and Iran, because we are, historically, we are brothers and sisters, and there is no difference between religions of any kind in Iran. In Iran that I was born, in Iran that I left as a childhood. The group that we have established since the uprising started in New York and continued and spread all over United States, then expanded into Europe and etc. And currently we have members in every state in the country that they are member of the organization. The organization is known as Iranian Democracy Front, or Iranian Solidarity Congress. This was done, the election of the officers and the members was performed and conducted one day in, I believe, in a suburb of Washington, which people, by voting, in writing, voting and committing to Iranian Solidarity Congress and its charter. And its charter, it is very simple: dismantling of the Islamic Republic. And that is the goal of our organization. And we couldn't, in the past 40 some odd years, do it alone by ourselves. And what was done in the past 12 some odd days of what called war, it was a one-sided war, but I'm glad that it occurred, and I'm sorry for innocent people who lost their lives in Iran by accident, I'm sure. And I am absolutely armament, some kind of an armament that Islamic Republic had, and send it toward Israel. I am sorry and I apologize for it. I don't know whether I'm in a position to be sorry or apologize, but I do it anyhow, because those people who press the button and send the armament toward Israel, they were not Iranian. They were member of Islamic Republic. Iranians would never commit to this act. I have nothing more to say, but if there are questions, I'll be glad to answer. I'm not really capable of answering all your questions. If there is anything missing, I will get back to you. However, I appreciate giving me the time, the opportunity to talk and say my piece. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wisdom, Sam. I think that we have introduced all our Iranian speakers that are with us. If Sivaoush will enter, so we will introduce him as well. Meanwhile, we have two more Israeli speakers from my group, from the Israeli-Iranian Friendship Association for Friendship of the People. And first of all, I would like to introduce Mrs. Ita Levit. Ita, are you with us? Ita?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Hello.
good to see you. So, of course, as we know, your English is not perfect, and if you feel the need, you can speak Hebrew and I will translate you.
Okay,
But I
thank you.
think that your story is interesting and important. So please tell it.
Okay. So hello, everybody. I come from France, from Paris, and I come in Israel like 25 years ago. And I grew, I married, I have children, and I wasn't political at all. I was like growing my children in the nature, and I meet a lot of people. I have a lot of Arab friends here in Israel. A lot of my friends go, in festival in Turkey, and they always tell me that they meet, Iranian people, but I didn't, I didn't know what's going on in Iran. I know that there was a revolution and the king go. That's it, I see the movie, in French when I was child, never without my child or something like this. So that's the thing that I remember. And when the war come here in Israel, so my husband say, "Why we have a group that we're gonna meet a lot of people in the Middle East." I say, "Okay." So I meet the real Iranian people. I listen for the first time that there is completely different approach about Israel. I meet people that have a connection with our culture, and also they have the freedom to talk true, that it's not very easy to say. Even here in Israel, if you are talking about culture, and differences or violence, so people, I was in a group of people that all the time want peace, and not religion, not politics, and for the first time, I see people that can tell us the difference about beef, ethnical, culture, and not איך אומרים קיצונים?
Radicals, not radicals.
Not radical, not Islam radical, and he make me understand where I live. He make me understand more even what's going on here in my country. Like I know now to read the map more clearly. I have tools. I have these tools because I learn with the Iranian people what's happening to them, and they know how to make the difference about good word, like with honey, but in the hand there is no intention, no real intention of peace. And all, in Europe, a lot of pro-Palestinian, and I see that the most courageux, how to say, Amit?
Courageous, brave.
Courageous people in all Europe, more than Jewish, can go outside in the street and be with Israel flag, ask for a connection, real connection for peace, and also talk about our culture. I listen people outside for me, that they tell me, you are the Jewish people. We remember the king that we have that was Jewish. And suddenly, I hear about Koresh, and it was like amazing. It's like something from outside remind me who I am, and how can I be more me, and how can I help a friend, a brother, to again return to be free in his own country, So it's very, very like magical, the connection that I have with people now, even with Palestinian here. I talk with Palestinian. I can explain to them, sometimes they didn't even understand why Iran, they say, okay, they want Mecca, so let them take Mecca. That's why they told me here, they are Sunni, They don't know what it means, the Sunni, the Shia. It's so interesting. And I connect with the king, איך אומרים, קבוצה של המונרכי.
With the monarchists.
Yeah, I
the
connect with
supporters of
them
Pahlav.
because we are the Jewish people. We have a good part in the take the king out. In France, in the French Revolution, in Russia, the Tsar. So it was terrible. The king was terrible. A lot of king was terrible, but it don't mean that every king have to be terrible. And we have an experience about democracy for a long time, and now we see what's going on in US, and we see also what's going on in Europe, and we see how people with not good intention can use the tools of democracy to take the democracy off. And the Iranian people are the most unfortunately know all the trick, because they live that for 40 years. So they explain to me, they explain to the Occidental, what's going on. And when the first place is taking, and it's, it's holy place, so maybe we're not gonna fight between us. The first one is, you will have a king. Okay, you have to be a good king. You have to be, we are in a modern place. We have rights now. We finish the feudal time. But I believe in the king. And for me, it's very significant, that a king can be also something that the Jewish support after a long time, that they support, all the revolution in the world. So that's it. I am full of hope.
Thank you so much, Ita. I would like to also introduce my friend Koren Eisner, who is an Israeli tour guide and also an activist in the Israeli-Iranian Association for the Friendship of the People. Can you please share your perspective as an Israeli who's been engaged in Israeli-Iranian dialogue for the last 2 years almost, I think?
Almost. Yes, shalom, Tom. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's 2 a.m. for us, so 2:30 a.m. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Koren. I'm an Israeli tour educator, and I've been involved in the last 22 years in Jewish education, and really spent my career in bridging Jewish American communities and Israeli communities. If you've ever been on a tour to Israel through your shul, through Federation, through JCRC, any of these organizations, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then October 7 happened, and all our industry is on hold. And here I am, to use the Israeli phrase, climbing on the walls. trying to figure out what to do. And of course, there's a big war. I live up north, up in the northern parts of Israel in the Galilee, so under heavy bombardments for a while. And not only is there's no source of income, but there's no outlet for creativity. And in the picture comes Tom. I stumble up to his amazing initiative, and I'm so thankful. I have to share with you, I'm an Israeli. I grew up here, spent all my life here, and there's a dissonance regarding the way Israelis perceive Iranians. Because when you grow up in Israel, look, the Islamic Revolution happened when I was 3-4 years old. So since I can remember myself, I was under threat. The most disgusting rhetorics on a daily basis. This is something somebody outside of Israel doesn't really get exposed to, and it's hard to appreciate. But we in Israel see it all the time, hear it all the time. Threats, anti-Semitic rhetorics, a clock in Tehran that tells when we will be destroyed, and then they update the clock every few years when they don't reach quota. And of course, in the last 30 years, the race to the bomb and the building of the Islamic regime's proxies around us, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, etc. And most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the history of terror that we've been undergoing, especially since the Second Intifada of the early 2000s. And that is all the Islamic regime's doing, really. And as an Israeli, that is something which is very much in our mindset, on one hand. On the other hand, whenever we get out of the country, we bump into Iranians. And they're the most, now, there are all kinds of Iranians out there, but the Iranians that obviously, and it's very visible, are more exposed to Western culture, younger people typically. They're not only, lovely, and they're not only do they get excited to hear that we're Israelis and want to engage in conversation, they're actually very cool people. And we could identify in one another a deep sense of commonship, a sense of, I wouldn't say common civilization, but a deep-rooted ancient civilization that gives us a wide background to discuss things. And that is a big contrast between these two things. Back 12, 13 years ago, I joined on social media, that was just in the beginning then, a group called Iranian Loves Israelis and vice versa. And I have some Iranian friends on social media. Some of them describe themselves as non-religious or secular. Some of them are Muslim Shiite believers. But all of them share one thing. They're disliked. By the way, all of them patriots, as you could hear on this forum. All of them love Iran, love their homeland. And from what I've seen, it's a beautiful country. I'm dying to get there one day. But all of them share a deep dislike to the regime. And once this forum started, I have to say it's been quite an educational experience. And it has a few layers to it. First of all, on a very human basis, Arash is here with us. We've never met in person. He's in Germany, I'm in Israel, but I feel that we are friends, close friends by now. We spent a long time together through Zoom meetings and privately. So the most indirect human contact. Secondly, a deep learning process. Now, those of you that visited Israel, you know that your tour educator had a very difficult time trying to explain what Israel is, because it is very complex, very diverse. Well, Iran is very much the same, very, very complex and very diverse, and it is a fascinating country. And that's another thing we share as civilizations. And thirdly, regarding the resistance to the Iranian, to the Islamic Republic. These things, and they've been presented here. Maybe I should sharpen that point a little bit, because as Americans, there are two things that are happening with regards to the media, and social media, and how the Iranian opposition is presented to you. First of all, they're mainly not presented. I see a lot of frustration among my Iranian friends of how they are ignored. And that's not new. That's been going on for decades. It's much worse in Europe, where the governing elite is working together with the Islamic Republic for all kinds of, all kinds of reasons, economically mainly, I believe. It's not as bad in the US. The US has housed the Crown Prince and gave him a safe haven, and they're more presented there. But still, your media, either because they're not interested or because they're not capable, doesn't go deeply into the subject. But when they are presented, as they are recently, many times the wrong kind of opposition is presented, the wrong kind of people. Because there are all kinds of groups. Some of them are actually terrorists. Some of them are Marxist communist terrorists, who, by the way, originally cooperated with the Islamic Republic, with Khomeini, during the actual revolution in 1979, before the Islamists turned on them and slaughtered most of them. But their representatives are still out there. Some of your kids or grandkids might be seeing them on social media, but dressing up very hip, and with very vicious anti-Israel rhetorics. So for me, this meeting really educated me for understanding who are really the Iranian people, who the most of them support. And it's been said here again and again. Now, Americans, you're a republic, Israel is a democracy. Saying the word king is not necessarily intuitive for us. But I've discovered through this journey that the Crown Prince, and I hope he will be king one day, is a legitimate political person who represents the Iranian people and has the back of most of the Iranian people. And eventually he'll be like the Queen of England or the King of England. He will not be an imposing king, but he will be in charge of creating whichever framework of democracy which the Iranians will find suitable. That was a very important lesson for me, and that is a message I try to move forwards to the rest of the world, because the Iranian people, my friends, they need our help. I know I watch American media, and I know what is not presented there, especially in the last 12 days. It was a really interesting case study. Everybody talks about the great players, and Iran did this and Israel did that. That's what they present. But in reality, it was the Islamic regime, after boasting itself to being an empire for so many years, and we fell for it. I believed them. Turned out to be a paper tiger, versus Israel, when the Iranian people go out in their metro stations and underground stations and have graffitis of the Star of David, and hidden messages of support of Israel. And that is the reality, and that's a reality that needs to be endorsed by the free world, and they crave the support of the free world. So thank you, Tom, for giving me this educational experience, and all my Iranian friends over here. Thank you for this, and we'll continue. We do our thing. I hope some Americans are now exposed to this. There are fascinating things going on, and we will change the world.
Amen to that. Thank you, Karen. Before we will take the questions that we have in the chat, and I encourage you to ask more questions, our friend George Horunian would like to add something. George, you're with us?
Yes, since I have short of time, I have to be in another meeting in about 20 minutes. I requested to say a few words. What I'm going to say, many Iranians don't like to hear. And I think the political culture is very much open about criticism. And since politics is not like chemistry and physics, it's not an exact science, there is a lot of talk in politics. And why I say all this? I believe many Iranians refuse to realize why the Islamists took power. They refuse to realize. As if a country was so perfect, then all of a sudden some people came from outside, and Carter and the British and this and that, and they had a conspiracy, and this happened. Although a lot of it I agree with, that the Western powers won it. But this is the thing. As a non-Muslim born in Iran, and I've tried to study this country and this culture, Iranians have two major forces influencing them. Two major forces. One is their nationalist Iranian position, that yes, Cyrus the Great, Darius the Great, we did this, we did that, we are like a big tapestry, everybody is here, we are different people, we are together. But that is, I think, just a lot of non-realistic. The other aspect of Iranians is the influence of Islamic teaching. Islamic teaching, which is clearly in parts of Quran, says, destroy the non-believers, kill the non-believers, etc., etc. I don't need to repeat what you know. So, to deny that Iranians, a lot of uneducated Iranians, do not have this influence in them, and they were supportive of the Islamic teachers or leaders to take power, is to deny reality. Now, it's true that a lot of Iranians, I will say, not only political, but also for economic reasons, have turned away from the regime. A lot of them have realized there is no reason to be against Israel and America and everybody else. It's true. What percentage it is, I warn everybody not to judge Iran from outside population. Inside Iran is very difficult to gauge. That's why I said that a lot of people don't like to hear these things. But I also agree that a lot of Iranians are sympathetic to Israel and against the regime. Is it 95%, as Arash says? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't say it's much more than that. But the difference between the Islamists and the rest is that they are committed, they are willing to die, and they are willing to kill. And a lot of people are not like them. So I just want to finish with saying this, and I will stay here to answer any comments if somebody wants to say, is that to be idealistic about others is dangerous. To be realistic is the way to do it. What we hope happens is different than what is on the ground. Why changes have not come to Iran? It's a big conversation that maybe later on we will discuss it. But just wanted to have this added to like what Coren was saying and others, that do not think that I will finish. I guess this is the way to finish, is that many Iranians, so-called seculars, so-called educated, became anti-Israel because of this war outside of Iran. Social media is full of it, full of it. Yes, many understand that Israel had to do this to defend itself. And I believe that, of course. But don't, I'm just cautioning everybody to be realistic. Thank you.
Okay, George, since I know that you're time sensitive, and it happens to be that I think that you're the most capable person to answer Meg's question. So we'll start with Meg questions, and afterwards we will address to everyone's questions. So Meg asks, how can ordinary American people help? What about the US government?
First of all, I don't claim to know everything, and how can I think they should pressure the U.S. government, their representatives, their senators, and obviously Trump also plays a game. Nobody, I cannot figure out what Trump is doing, but pressure them to support the Iranian people, and do not. I mean, I for the life of me, I think this is a game that Trump is playing. This regime, it's in their DNA. It's not a posture. It's in their DNA to destroy Israel. This is what they believe. The end of the world, Mashiach will come when they destroy Israel. This is what they believe. So what is the negotiation? I don't understand. So that's what I think the American citizens should do.
Thank you so much. I think we have two questions. One is very simple and the other is a lot more complex. I will read both of them and I will ask the Iranian speakers to, each one of our Iranian friends to relate to the two questions. So one is basically an informative question. Meg is asking approximately what percentage of Iranians support the present regime. Of course, I should say for myself, no one can tell an exact number because there's no objective way to measure it, okay? But obviously, people have different takes. There's no free polls in Iran and there's no free elections, so we cannot measure things in an objective way. But before I ask our Iranian friends to start answer, I'll address I'll address the more complex question by Roman. So I'll read it. I've read multiple media reports that the Israeli attack caused many people previously opposed to the regime to rally behind it and to turn against Israel, which is similar to what George said. While I don't trust those claims, nor do I think anybody has conducted quality polling since the attack, and of course it's impossible to do quality polling in Iran. I wonder if there is any data on whether there is some truth behind such claims, specifically whether a significant part of those who didn't share the regime anti-Israeli views in the past have now changed their views as a result of the recent war. So those are two questions. Arash, please begin. I will ask, of course, the rest of our Iranian friends to relate as well.
Thank you so much. I try to be quick. About the first question, you guys are right. There is no polls to measure exactly how much the population are against the regime and how many are with the regime. But with our observations, with our researches and daily contacts through Iran, we see the most majority of the people are against the regime, and the rest, a few that who supports the regime, they are only there because of the economic benefits that they receive. And even if the regime cut their money, they will also turn against the regime. So this is the true and reality. About the second question, which is very interesting, also Mr. Harunian mentioned about it. Yes, it's true that in the beginning of Islamic Revolution, so many masses came to the streets of Tehran. There were maybe 100,000 people from all the villages all around Iran, and true at that time there were so many uneducated people who felt for Khomeini. But I believe that we should not be very negative and discouraging. At the same time that we want to stay realistic, we should also be encouraging with the observation nowadays, the young generation and the influence of a young generation on their parents. We see that the population who are against the regime are huge, and even so many who were with this regime in the beginning, they have turned against the regime. And about those who possibly you have heard that they turn against Israel during the 12 days war, especially who present themselves as Iranian and they are in the West, they were always against Israel, but they were hiding. The Iranian extreme leftists who present themselves as liberals, they were always against Israel, but they hide it because they wanted to profit from different possibilities. They are even here. They are even into pro-Israeli organizations in Europe and Germany. They said they are there to censor real Iranians, to not let real Iranians come to pro-Israeli organizations. And of course, the arrogance and ignorance of others help them. They are always together. So it's not something that, but what you see as a projection of their voices into the media is because they have so many contacts. They have a huge network. They are not a lot, but they have a huge network. And with this network, they can bring their voices and make it to look like multiple and to look like more. So really, they are not a lot. And again, the masses are with us. So we should not care about them. Of course, we should care about them because they are everywhere. But if the regime falls, they lose also their financial support and they cannot activate like that anymore. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Saba?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Just I want to ask to this question if it's possible to I also agree with Mr. Orange as it is said true that we want to say, and also I want to say these individuals were never opposition of the Iran. To be honest, they are always been against of Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, the only leader and only voice for more than 85% Iranian people. And in fact, they act the second half of Islamic regime that we say they reformist or make, as you see what's going on in the now. And maybe as you ask me how the USA and also people then can support us, we want to ask don't negotiation, never and ever with the Islamic regime, not reformist, but also another is like the same make. And also Mr. Harunian that said, Islamic regime don't stop to find a nuclear, and they founded to find, and they wanted to kill all Jewish people, to be honest, in the world. And I want to ask you, please don't negotiation without anybody like the make, as you see what's going on in these days.
Thank you so much. Fuad, would you like to address this question as well? We have more questions, by the way.
Yeah, sure. I want to say that I agree with Mr. Harunian that we have to be realistic. And as you know all, because I'm not a representative of a specific opposition group, but a movement that trying to make or bring all the opposition leaders to unity and helping them or making peace. So we have tried to be realistic about the situation. With all respect to Mr. Sam, I want to say that we are facing a regime that has this ideology, this religious ideology, this poisonous ideology, anti-Israeli and anti-Jewish. We have to speak about the religion. I was Muslim. I've studied law and Islamic law. Now I'm Christian. I studied Christian theology, Jewish theology. So everything about, this attack from regime, all of these attacks because of the ideology, the religious ideology. So we have to speak about that. And concerning this question that many of people actually became anti-Israeli after the starting of this war, I believe they are human beings and their feeling goes up and down. We can read in the book of Exodus, the Jewish people cried to be free from the Egypt. When they came out, they began to be angry against the Moses. So it was the same people that once they cried for experience the freedom, but because of the tough time, so they became angry to Moses, their leader, and to God also. So we are facing the people, and maybe they want to experience freedom without any tough days. But freedom costs life sometimes, and it's not so easy to get freedom. But we have to understand them. We have to understand them, and that's there we can do something together. We have to speak about the friendship. We have to speak about the this friendship that actually is historic. Meanwhile, I believe that we have many people, believers in Iran, that they believe to God. So we have to speak about that there is another way of thinking about the God also. So we can help them. We can stand together or do great things together. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Corinne, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I just want to quickly say why, as an Israeli, I'm not concerned about people changing their minds as presented here. I'm sure some people do now stand in a patriotic place and are angry at Israel. Number one is the wise things Fuad just said. And I come from a country who suffers war. I know the dynamics. When things explode, people come together because that's how you go through. But as Fuad said, things change. Time changes, and I think it was deliberately a short round, 12 days. It's part of that idea. Secondly, what Arash said, there are voices out there, but they are amplified to a much higher degree that they are on the ground, both through social media and through some news outlets that have different agendas. Okay, if we're talking about Western American media, if they're pro-Trump or against Trump, this dictates all the news that they give you, because that's a main idea. Trump, yes, no, right? And if it will go against Trump, it will be amplified. So that too does not really reflect the true numbers. And thirdly, and most importantly, because I saw on Telegram channels videos that were taken from Iran just before the Iranian regime shut down the internet. I hope most of you know that the Iranian people had no access to internet for close to 2 weeks. And even now, it's kind of shaky. But some things leaked, and you could see people's overviewing the battles in front of them. And when the dust, of course, people were killed. People were killed that were not necessarily a part of the regime, but people saw very clearly how the Israeli military targeted only military and specifically Revolutionary Guards facilities and avoided targeting apartment buildings. I mean, if they did, it was a specific apartment and not the whole building. And avoided targeting civilians and avoided targeting economical assets to a country, to a people that are under terrible economic strain due to the corruption and due to the sanctions and due to the taking of all the resources to arm the proxies, etc. And when people stand on a rooftop or at the porch and see exactly where the bombs fall, they know that they're not the target. And that was very evident in the videos that we saw. So once the dust settles, and people go back to their daily life, you know, they won't change their mind dramatically. That's my opinion. And last, of course, as an Israeli, we just have to do what we have to do at a certain point. So we have to take them back with their nuclear facilities. We have to push them back as much as we can, whether it is years or months. We don't care, as long as they were pushed back from the brink. So that's the Israeli perspective.
Thank you, Corinne. Gargi, yes, you wanted to ask a question, or?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question and say a few things. I'm actually representing United States of America. I am a district leader of New York, Westchester County, Greenburgh, and also Democratic Party I'm in. And also, you know, I'm an election inspector. I am working for 12 years with the Board of Elections. And I have no personal grudge on any country, but right now, you know, I'm not here to discuss the history, geography, social science, or anything, you know, religious texts. We need to find peace, and we need to be prosper, and we need to find a solution. So I'm here to discuss and ask something related to solution. So USA, my country, has 7.5 million Jewish people. And if you talk about the Iranians, we have 550K plus Iranians. So we have actually provided 318 billion plus aid since 1951 to Israel as per the military, economic, and the annual support concerned. So, you know, I mean, we have been very lenient, we're very liberal, and very supportive to Israel all the way. Although, you know, my personal views say something else, that the two-nation theory between Palestine and Israel did not work. Because if it had worked, then, you know, today Israel would have been Israel. It looks almost like Gaza. And it is very painful, as Corinne said, that it's really heartbreaking, you know. And regarding Iran, you know, what to say, you know, Iran has a very old heritage, culturally very rich country. I am Kashmiri from my mother's side, and I'm Indian from my father's side. So I share some Persian culture and heritage, which comes from Iran. This is because Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and then India comes. And the Persian civilization, people migrated from Persia, which is today's Iran, to Kashmir. And my looks and my hobbies and, you know, the cuisine, I have a fascination for Iran, although I'm representing United States of America. So we need to be friends. And I mean, we have seen that how from from Suleiman, Qasim Soleimani to Ibrahim Raisi, and beyond, the nuclear scientists, and also, you know, so many military, armed military personnel, they have lost their lives. And we have also witnessed, I mean, experienced the bunker busters, which actually were targeted towards the nuclear sites. I mean, fortunately, it did not affect anything. And I would say that we have 5,000 plus nuclear heads. Russia has the most. Iran never questioned us that why we have so many nuclear heads. So I strongly feel that we should not question Iran, that why you are preparing to have nuclear heads and testing, because so many countries they have, you know, I mean, so what's the biggie, you know? And I'm looking for my political career. So please excuse me if I am hurting any feelings knowingly or unknowingly. But my last thing is that we need peace, prosperity, harmony, and we need to come to a solution on a common ground, not like fight and try to prove that who is best, who is better, who is worst. That should not be anybody's business. The business should be that we need to reach a concrete solution. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, dear Tom, could I 30 seconds say something?
Sure.
Thank you. First of all, lady.
I also want to say something
Yeah,
after.
thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to say to the lady Bakchi that first of all, Qasem Soleimani and Raisi. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sure. I just wanted to say Qasem Soleimani and Raisi, they were terrorists. They were criminals. And I don't know if you heard our meeting. We are saying that this regime doesn't represent. No, this is This is the version of the Iranian people, the majority of Iranian people. And when you talk like that, like you are defending this terrorist regime, it's very harmful for us. And you say that you say that. You know? Okay, I was quiet. Could you please turn off your microphone?
Wait,
sure.
One by one, please.
Sure. And then you say that you are representing United States of America, but you are speaking against the United States of America. So this is also a complex. You should, if you care about United States, you should be cautious about the enemies of the United States who want death for America. So
we know who
the
are
Islamic
our
Republic regime.
Well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So please study more. Of course, you are from Democratic Party. It's clear, but please study more and please love America. Thank you.
I do. Yeah. I'm a very patriotic person, and here I'm not to character assassinate anybody. Here I am to.
I don't know why you're here.
I
don't know why you're here. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know
I just want to say something. Please, can you listen to me?
Ita, I will, but allow me to.
No, it's very important. I just want to say something very small.
Ita,
just a second, please. Okay. First of all, I would like, obviously we have come to a sensitive topic. I would like to explain on the factual level. First of all, that Iran is building a nuclear missiles to destroy Israel. That's what they say. That's the official stance. They're not building it to get deterrence or anything like it. They specifically say, open, we want to destroy Israel with those nuclear missiles. Frankly, just an anecdote, when the Prime Minister of Italy had a breakfast with the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic, Khamenei, and he asked him casually to make a small talk, what have you dreamt on this night? What is your personal dream? The answer was destroying Israel. The second point is that there's no solution because there's no problem. There is nothing to do between the Israeli-Iranian conflict and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Those are two unrelated conflicts totally, okay? And the bottom line of the Israeli-Iranian conflict is that the Iranian regime, as a religious doctrine, is committed to the destruction of Israel. So, solution is something that is very hard to come by in Western or democratic concepts of understanding each other. There's no problem of understanding. There's problem of a religious doctrine that says we need to kill all the Jews and then Mahdi, the Messiah, will come. That's not the doctrine of the entire Muslim world, but it is the doctrine of the Iranian regime. I wanted to make it clear and factual and calm. We should not have a heated debate just because we have different of perspectives. Ita, if you feel that you have to say something that I haven't.
Yeah, I just have to say small things that we have example in live that was going on. That mean very nice word, very nice things, and nothing, not have real מחויבות. How do you say מחויבות? Commitment for real peace. We cannot make peace when we kill our children and they kill their own children. you know? Okay, they beat themselves in New York. So I invite now the American people and the New York people to have contact with the Iranian people because they know very deeply what's going on and how to read the map, how to listen for the small nuance that make all the difference. And you know why I'm talking like that? Because we have Oslo for 20 years here, okay? And we see how it's finished. So we need, when we make peace, we need that everything is very clear. We cannot make, imagination of peace. We need real peace. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ita. If anyone wants to add something that we haven't said on this
Can
matter.
I say something, please?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I really am late for my other meeting, but I don't know why this lady is here. I honestly don't know. This was a conversation about Iran and Israel and other issues, but it shows the people who go in the streets and talk about destroying Israel. This is the kind of information that they have. 318 billion. First of all, is more than 500,000 Iranians in America. Your census numbers are wrong. That's number one. There is 500,000 Iranians in Southern California. And the 318,000 billion, what did the United States get for this support? First of all, it's not free money to Israel. It's loan guarantees. Most of it is loan guarantees. You know how much money United States has spent in Italy, in France, in Germany with having their bases there? No, you don't know the answer. I don't want you to answer that question. I want to go back and finish, and I have to go. One thing I want people to know is that when you talk about extremists, sometimes people think that they are stupid because of their ideology. The Iranian regime are not stupid. There are, in fact, a lot of intelligent people in the regime. But here is, basically their ideology is stupid. But here is the point I wanted to make about nationalism. For all these years, they have been talking about the Islamic Ummah, Islami. They're talking about the Islamic people. They never talked about Iranian people. They never talked about Iranian people. As if a Pakistani Muslim, an Indian Muslim, and an Iranian Muslim are all the same. They're all the same. There's no Iranian nation. Now, the war happened. They are talking about Iranian nation will rise up. They will defend themselves. Iranian people are like this, and they bring the old the stories of Iranian literature from Shahnameh to say that, oh yeah, we are nationalistic. Just wanted to make this note. I'm very sorry. I have to leave. I'm late for another appointment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. I would like to address another question by Mona and ask our Iranian friends to refer it. From your context in Iran, is there any chance of internal opposition protests without outside efforts? Because things seem quiet now. And I would also like to add another question, since I think it's going to be the last round. What do you expect as Iranians today from Israel and from the United States? So, Ford, would you like to begin?
I believe the second question have been answered, that United States shall stand with the real Iranian people, both inside and outside, not supporting the regime in any way, because sometimes they say that they are helping the Iranian opposition, but under the board helping the regime, oil business and all that stuff. So it's very important, because if United States press the European country, because Islamic Republic regime has a big deal and big business with European countries, and the European countries do not want to lose this business with the regime. So all depends on United States and Mr. President of United States to be very firm in this issue and tough against the Islamic regime and press the European country. So when the regime see that they have no support from European country and United States, so the people be encouraged to do something both inside Iran and outside Iran. So concerning the first question, you know, we have passed very tragic experience after the death of Mahsa Jina Amini. Because, you know, many people became disappointed. Yeah.
Explain this incident because not all the people know who is Mahsa Jina Amini and what are you referring to?
Yeah, I'm originally come from Saqqez. Saqqez was the city of Mahsa Jina Amini, a Kurd woman, Kurd lady that just because she had not appropriate hijab in Tehran, being killed by the police, by the moral police, sparking the huge tension in Iran and people rising against the regime, beginning in Kurdish side of Iran and then spreading all Iran. So, and women life freedom started from that movement and went to all across the world. So I'm sure that everybody here heard about the woman life freedom movement. But the result of that tragic story was disappointed for the people of Iran because European country betrayed the people in that moment. They didn't want to stand with the people. So in this time, people don't want to experience the same thing. Many people being killed and executed after and during that revolution. We called it revolution, and we believe that it's continue. So many people being executed, and the people don't want to experience the same situation right now. So everything depends on the European countries and Mr. President of United States, and people are waiting to see death of Khamenei.
And
the head of snake. The head of snake is Khamenei, is Haman Agagite. So the people are waiting to change there. So after that, we can have the expectations, some movement or revolution inside Iran. So all these things depends on factors outside Iran. Yeah. It's my perspective.
Thank you so much. I have an event to go, so I'm taking off. And I came here because I saw it on social media, but you could have just dropped me off, you know, I mean, just knowingly or unknowingly, if I've hurt any feelings. I have no ill feelings for anybody. I'm here to spread love. Thank you so much. Good night.
It was good for you. I think we believe that it was good for you also.
Thank you. Yeah, I came to know so much, you know, what the
and not support
other
the
side
terrorist Islamic
also,
regime.
you know, talk about. So I am a very good listener, you know, I don't mind. I mean, I didn't have, anyway, I have to go to an event. And thank you so much, by the way, to all of you. Good night.
God protect America.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
From people like you.
So I would like to ask Arash to refer to those questions about the situation on the ground and the possibility of protests, and also your expectations as Iranian from the United States and Israel in this junction.
Exactly. About what could happen inside the country, that something like a revolution happen, as Mr. Khoshidi said, exactly, I agree. And most of the Iranians are agree because of the trauma and fears that exist among Iranians that they have got so many times betrayed by the West, especially Europe or administrations before the current administration, that always they ignored us, closed their eyes. Because there were so many uprisings during these last 46 years, and always we have been ignored. So we just hope, and people are ready. People are they are preparing themselves, but they are waiting for a proper moment. And as we said, they are all focusing on Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi because he is at the moment the center of the opposition and kind of hope for people. And he's going to organize a big gathering in Europe with all the opposition and activists from all around the world, Iranian opposition. And he has also announced a safe channel for the military personnel who wanted to turn against the regime and join the people. And since his announcement, so thousands daily are joining this campaign. So lots of movements are happening, and it's not that nothing is happening. But this time, people want to be a little bit more sure when they want to come to the streets with empty hands and facing thugs fully armed, most of them not even Iranian, and get killed again. And then the regime cut the internet, and then nobody knows what's happened. And later, so many hypocrites will organize events, talk about human rights, and oh yes, the Iranian regime killed these people. We are the activists. I am the minority activist. I am the feminists, and I'm this and that, and just playing with words, but actually being anti-woman and anti-minorities or anything. So. What was the first question? Sorry, I'm so stressful because of the lady who supported the Islamic Republic. Oh yeah, about this thing. How could the West, the United States and Israel help Iranian people? Please be ready if something started again, because the regime always first cut the internet. To provide somehow internet for the Iranian people, because with internet they can organize themselves and we can be in touch with them, we can encourage them, and then this can happen so quickly, like in the beginning of the revolution of Mahsa Amini, when they killed our dear Mahsa. Actually the first uprising started in Tehran, and parallel we did in Kurdistan too, but at that time we had a few days internet in the beginning. So internet is very important. And then other helps, like recognizing the head of the opposition. And as our dear Koren said, it's so lovely to hear from him that he said he would love him to be a king one day. And our dear Ita said there are also good kings. But he himself say that I am not doing this to become a king. I don't want monarchy for myself. For me, what is important is a real democracy would be established in Iran. So please also know this, and so there would be no misunderstanding that, oh my God, a monarchy, because we know that there are people who are sensitive to this word, even if it would be a parliamentary monarchy, that the king would not have any power. So know that just he is a very democratic person. And I just wanted to say that, in Europe now, why we see this ignorance and arrogance in Europe is because the influence of so many fanatical political Islam who is infiltrated into the political social system in Europe. And we are very worried when we see that there are creatures, for example, in New York, there is a creature who wants to be a mayor. And it's very sad and worrying for us that if ever they took also over America, like the world is lost then. Like for now, America and Israel are the hope for freedom and the last stand of the freedom in the world. And I know this might sound ridiculous for some people. Oh, you poor little guy, you think America is the best. Yeah, you don't know how much problems we have here. But no, I know that there are challenges everywhere. But please believe me, if you don't protect America, we lose freedom, we lose everything. And yeah, that's I just wanted to say.
Okay,
Thank you.
before we will start wrapping it up, Arash, I just wanted to ask you a personal question publicly, but I want you to be brief on your answer, please, because as my friend, I know that after October 7th, you and many of your friends were joining the pro-Israeli or anti-Semitism protests in Europe. And what happened to you when you tried to reach out to the Jewish community and the Israeli organization was interesting, and I want you to share it with the group, please.
Sure.
But let's keep it for 2 minutes, please.
Sure. Quickly, I tried to encourage the Iranian diaspora in Europe and United States to openly supporting Israel with holding the Israeli flags in our demonstrations. And thanks goodness, thanks God, it works and it spreaded. So we see it now everywhere. We tried to communicate with pro-Israeli organizations in Europe. I am living in Germany, Berlin, so I did it in Germany. When at the beginning, like at the first year, we tried a lot. We went to all the gatherings, all the demonstrations or talks. We were there. There were photos. We had no rights to talk. But slowly, when we see that there are cliques that when they talk about Iran or they bring a representative to talk from Iranian people, there are always extreme left Iranians who have somehow connections with the reformist groups or irrelevant characters like MEK, terrorist organization, Mujahideen Khalq, and some Kurds from Iraq, not even from Iran. So we started to talk to them, to tell them that to explain the situation, but we always faced ignorance and arrogance and rejection. And also from Iranian diaspora, I was pushed to ask why they don't give us a platform, why they censor us even in the photos. And I tried my best. And many people got disappointed. They stopped coming to those. But when they themselves, the diaspora, organize now demonstrations, they always have the Israeli flags. But those interactions were very disappointing, unfortunately. So,
thank you, Arash. Thank you, everyone. I think it was very interesting. Hila, you want to conclude?
Yeah. So I want to thank you, Tom, for leading this. First of all, for your wonderful work in leading this Zoom and the efforts to bring diverse voices from the Middle East to the forefront. I think that a lot of the voices are things that definitely a lot of us and the people that listen to social media and follow the media in general cannot hear these nuances. So thank you for all your work. I also want to thank all of you who joined this Zoom and took the time and engage and ask questions. And if you look at our chat, you can see a registration link. If you find this conversation interesting and meaningful, you can register and we will update you via email for future conversations. And we will also send an email with this registration link and the record of the Zoom so you can listen for parts that you might have missed. Thank all of you for your time and for engaging, and again to all of our speakers from 3 different continents. And thank you, Lior.
And bravo to the Shlichot. They're doing an amazing job.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
everyone.
good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Laila
you.
Tov.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye. Protect
Bye.
America,
Bye.
please. Protect New York. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.